They would have been like, it's your fault, ma'am. You were in the wrong. You motherfuckers be in the wrong too. Y'all always in the wrong and want to turn around and blame it on everybody else. Them the most. Whew. Man, talk about people that don't want to take the blame for themselves. Police, I ain't about shit.
On July 8th, 2024, a single bullet whistled through the air and struck an unsuspecting fast food worker at Church's Chicken in Memphis, Tennessee. This tragic encounter between two women, one an employee simply trying to get through her shift, the other an angry customer, caused a massive stir in the community. A simple evening shift for a dedicated employee ended in tragedy, and what began as an ordinary workday would become the last for 48-year-old Anitra West, simply because she got a customer's chicken order wrong. Witnesses, police reports, and surveillance cameras would later reveal the disturbing chain of events, but the deeper question, why it happened at all, would linger long after the suspect was in custody. What made this case so disturbing wasn't just the brutality of the act, but the setting. This wasn't a crime hidden away in the dark corners of the city. It happened in public, in a neighborhood where families passed by daily, and at a place many visited for a quick meal. And as it turned out, this wasn't the story of strangers colliding by chance. There was a deeper, more personal history between the victim and the woman accused of ending her life. That connection would send ripples of disbelief through everyone who thought they knew them both. But to truly understand the depth of this tragedy, we have to know the woman at the center of it all, the victim, whose life was taken far too soon. This is the life and death of Anitra West.
I heard about her on the news last night, and it was very sad to see and hear that a young lady got on her job trying to make a living for herself.
This story takes us to the city of Memphis, Tennessee. It's a city where the Mississippi River, rich musical legacy, and Southern soul converge to create a deeply vibrant and creative atmosphere. Home to passionate communities, historic houses, and festivals that pulse with energy. In 2024, the city achieved meaningful reductions in crime. Overall crime dropped over 13%, homicides fell, and motor vehicle thefts decreased. Yet despite this progress, Memphis remained challenged by elevated levels of violent crime and continues to rank among the most dangerous U.S. cities, underscoring an urgent need for sustained intervention. Anitra West was born in 1976, and from the start, she built her life around the people she loved. Family was everything to her. She grew up in Memphis, surrounded by a tight-knit community where everyone seemed to know each other. Friends and relatives remember her as the kind of person who brought warmth into any room, someone whose smile carried an energy you couldn't ignore. Her schooling years were spent in local Memphis schools, where she was well liked by classmates and teachers alike. Those early years shaped her into a strong, hard-working woman, someone who faced life's challenges head-on and never forgot where she came from. Eventually, when she started working, it was not just a means of survival for Anitra, it was a point of pride. She was known as a reliable employee who took her job seriously, no matter the position or location. By 2024, she was working at the Church's Chicken on Park Avenue in Orangemount, a role she embraced with the same dedication she brought to everything in life. Coworkers respected her, not just for her work ethic, but for her ability to stay upbeat even during the busiest, most stressful shifts. But the role she cherished most was being a mother. Anitra had a 12-year-old daughter, the child she shared with her former husband, Lorenzo West Jr. They had been married for 16 years before separating, but they remained connected through their shared commitment to raise their daughter. For Lorenzo, Anitra wasn't just his ex-wife, she was his high school sweetheart and someone who had profoundly shaped his life.
The love of my life was taken away. The only woman the one I chose, and learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about my mental health through my marriage and my divorce and her leaving here the way she did.
Their daughter was the center of Anitra's world. Every decision made, every shift she worked, was in part to create a better life for her child. Those close to her knew she was protective and deeply invested in her daughter's future. Friends describe her as a shining light and a beautiful soul, the kind of person who made you feel valued and seen. But on the night of Monday, July 8th, 2024, all of that would change, and it began with what seemed at first like a small disagreement. That evening, Anitra was working her shift at Church's Chicken in Orangebound. The restaurant sat at 2963 Park Avenue, a familiar location for locals and a steady spot for late-night orders. It was shortly after 9 p.m. when a teal-colored SUV pulled into the drive-thru lane. Behind the wheel was 45-year-old Monica Williams, a woman with whom Anitra had a long-standing personal history. What happened next was captured in fragments, some from surveillance footage, some from witness accounts, and some from those who were on the phone with Anitra at the time. The order at the drive-thru window quickly turned into an argument. Reports indicate that it began as a dispute over payment for the food, but family members of Anitra would later insist this was not just about a meal. It was personal. They believed the tension between the two women went beyond that night, and this confrontation was the breaking point. As the heated exchange unfolded, Monica eventually drove away from the drive-thru. The situation seemed to have ended, but as Anitra's co-workers would soon learn, it was far from over. Shaken and visibly upset, Anitra decided to step outside to get some fresh air. She had been wearing earbuds during the earlier exchange, speaking to a friend on the phone, and that friend would later recall hearing every word of the confrontation. They also remembered something chilling, that the woman in the teal SUV had made verbal threats before driving off. And then, without warning, the teal SUV returned to the parking lot. Surveillance footage later confirmed the sequence. Monica had left, only to circle back. The vehicle pulled up, and within moments, a single gunshot shattered the night. Witnesses inside the restaurant heard the noise and saw the SUV speeding away from the lot. Outside, Anitra was found on the ground, critically wounded. The injury was severe. Co-workers rushed to her side, calling her name and pleading for her to hold on. Emergency responders were called immediately. Anitra was transported to Regional 1 Health, where medical teams worked urgently to save her life. But about an hour later, she was pronounced dead. In a matter of minutes, a disagreement had escalated into a fatal shooting, leaving a daughter without her mother, an ex-husband without his friend and co-parent, and a community without one of its most beloved members. When the 911 calls came in just after 9 p.m. on July 8th, Memphis police knew they were dealing with a critical emergency. Officers rushed toward the location in Orangebound, sirens cutting through the night as dispatchers relayed urgent details. Arriving at the restaurant, officers found chaos. Staff members and customers were visibly shaken, some crying, others frantically pointing toward the direction the SUV had gone. Outside, near the parking lot, lay 48-year-old Anitra West, gravely injured. Paramedics quickly took over, working to stabilize her before loading her into the ambulance. While medical crews worked, officers began preserving the scene. They set up crime scene tape, keeping bystanders back while they documented shell casing, possible bullet trajectories, and other physical evidence. Investigators moved fast to secure surveillance footage from the restaurant's cameras, footage that would soon prove critical. Witnesses gave consistent descriptions. The shooter had driven through the drive-thru, gotten into a heated argument with Anitra, and then left, only to return minutes later and fire a shot before speeding off. Even more chilling, Some recalled hearing threats before the shooting, confirming that this wasn't an accident. Meanwhile, detectives learned that Anitra had been on the phone during the initial confrontation. The friend on the other end of the call told police she heard the argument clearly, including a threat from the customer to kill Anitra. When Anitra stepped outside, the friend stayed on the line, and then heard Anitra recognize the same woman pulling back into the lot. Moments later, the sound of a single gunshot ended the call. But as solid as these accounts were, police still needed to confirm the suspect's identity. The investigation moved quickly. Detectives reviewed the surveillance footage frame by frame. The teal SUV was clearly visible along with the driver's distinctive purple hair. They described still images to patrol officers, nearby law enforcement agencies, and eventually the public, hoping someone would recognize the woman. It didn't take long. A tip came in from a woman who had seen news reports about the shooting. She told investigators she knew exactly who the suspect was: 45-year-old Monica Williams. According to the tipster, Monica's vehicle was still parked outside her home, and she provided details about her movements that night. Detectives followed up immediately. They arrived at the residence and confirmed the teal SUV matched the one from the video. The vehicle was seized as evidence, but Monica herself wasn't there. From the tipster's account, police learned that she and her 10-year-old son had been inside the SUV during the drive-thru argument, but were dropped off before the shooting occurred. She claimed she had no idea what happened until she saw the news the next morning. By then, Monica had already returned to her home briefly, packed an overnight bag, and left again. This information, combined with the video evidence, witness testimony, and phone records, gave investigators enough to secure an arrest warrant. On July 11, just 3 days after the killing, the Shelby County District Attorney's Office formally charged Monica Williams with first-degree murder, but she was nowhere to be found.
Memphis police have now identified the woman wanted in connection with the death of a Church's Chicken employee. An arrest warrant was issued today for 45-year-old Monica Williams. She's wanted on first-degree murder charges following Monday night's death of Anitra West at the Church's Chicken location on Park Avenue in Orange Mound. Police say West was shot after she and Williams got into an argument in the drive-thru.
For nearly a week, Monica avoided capture. Law enforcement agencies across the state were alerted to be on the lookout. Memphis police urged the public to share any information on her whereabouts, warning that she should be considered armed and dangerous. Detectives retraced her known contacts, checking with family, friends, and acquaintances. They monitored social media activity, searched possible hiding spots, and followed up on every lead. Community tension grew.
As the search for her alleged killer continues, we're hearing more from the family of Anitra West. WREG's Alan Self spoke with the victim's family.
The Shelby County DA's office has released updated photos of Monica Williams, who is now a wanted suspect for the murder of Anitra West. Lorenzo West Jr., Anitra's former husband, says anyone aiding Williams at this time should be convicted as well.
I'm just glad that they issued a warrant for her arrest. Like they need to issue a warrant for everybody that was hiding her or helping her not get caught. I don't know what Tennessee's rules are about the penalty, but when I believe that we keep each other because they're not being punished.
Williams is accused of West over a disputed order at the Church's Chicken drive-thru. Lorenzo says his family has known Williams since childhood.
I had family live directly down the street from where she grew up at, so like first cousins and stuff. So it's Orange Mound is a small community, It's very rare that, people this age, in our age group, don't know each other, because we either went to elementary school, middle school, or high school together.
Lorenzo wants to set the record straight. He says he believes the shooting stemmed from a personal argument, not a dispute over chicken.
I know Anitra was too important to be about some food. It wasn't about no food. It was something somebody took personal and couldn't let it go, And words get past. Once you get past words in Memphis, everybody knows how it turns out.
Lorenzo and his daughter Zoe are still reeling from the loss of his ex-wife. He reveals his last conversation with Anitra was about restarting their relationship.
I told her I wanted to shoot my shot. I wanted another try. Because I don't want nobody else.
For your news leader in Orange Mound, I'm Alan Self, WREG News Channel 3.
With many wondering how long it would take before she was caught and whether she might harm anyone else. But it was not long before she was in the hands of the cops. in the most unexpected way. On Monday, July 15th, Monica Williams walked into a Memphis police precinct and surrendered. The reasons for her decision remain unclear, whether it was pressure from law enforcement, fear of being found, or influence from those close to her. She was booked into the Shelby County Jail on the first-degree murder charge. Her time in court soon began.
45-year-old Monica Williams has finally ended after a week-long search. She is the woman accused of 48-year-old Anitra West, a Church's Chicken employee, last week in Orange Mound.
Now we have our Tavarius Haywood. He's joining us live with details of how one of Williams' friends helped police identify her. Good morning, T. Wood.
Good morning, y'all. Police records say that friend, who we are not naming, called police the day after the deadly incident, saying that she and her child was with Williams the moment that she got into an argument with an employee at Church's Chicken. Now, according to police records, Williams allegedly told the employee at the drive-through intercom that they had two orders. That's when things became tense, and they decided not to order since the ordering had become so tense. Williams then pulled up to the window and told the employee they no longer wanted to order. The witness said things became more heated and an argument began, although nothing physical took place. Williams reportedly drove the mother and the child home and dropped them off in the driveway, saying she was, quote, going to get some chips to go with their dinner. The friend said Williams came back sometime between 11 p.m. and 11 midnight, packed an overnight bag, and left without her car. Now, her friend told police that she wasn't surprised to see Williams' car outside because Williams was seeing someone and she would often leave with them in the evenings. He said that the friend said that when she woke up the next morning and saw Williams' images on the news, that's when she called police. Now, Williams is facing a first-degree charge. She is expected to be here at 2:01 at court sometime this morning.
A woman accused of shooting and killing a Church's Chicken employee in Orange Mound had a court appearance today as new details were revealed about the deadly incident. Court documents say 45-year-old Monica Williams got into an argument with Church's employee Anitra West because Williams would not pay for her order. Initially, Williams drove off, and then West went outside to get some fresh air. At the same time, West was on her phone with a friend who heard West say Williams had come back and was threatening to kill her. That's when the friend heard a single gunshot and then the voices of terrified co-workers calling West's name. Tonight, Williams is charged with first-degree murder and being held without bond.
In court appearances that followed, she showed little visible emotion, though at one point she was seen wiping away tears and making hand gestures toward family members in the gallery. The arrest brought some relief to Anitra's loved ones, but it wasn't closure. For them, Monica's surrender was just the start of a long legal process, and the painful reality that no matter the outcome, the person they cared for was gone. Still, the question remained, what would justice look like in this case, and how would the community respond once the trial began? With Monica Williams now in custody, the focus shifted from the streets of Orange Mound to the Shelby County courtroom.
Following the fatal shooting of a fast food worker while she was on the job. Tonight, Monica Williams is in custody and charged with first-degree murder a week after the deadly attack. WRAG's Jarita Patterson has more on what happened when Williams faced a judge this morning for the first time.
Monica Williams, who at times looked to be hiding from our camera, was in court after police alleged she was hiding from law enforcement for a week. The 45-year-old faced a judge Tuesday, charged with and killing Anitra West while she was on the job at this Church's Chicken in Orange Mound. This makeshift memorial stands as a reminder of what happened to Miss West. In this two-page affidavit, investigators describe Williams and the victim arguing as Williams went around the drive-thru. We have since learned a female passenger and her 10-year-old son were inside the SUV, captured on surveillance video. After the argument, police say Williams took the mother and son to their Dietrich Avenue home before traveling the half-mile back to the restaurant where she found the victim outside on the phone. A woman on the other end told investigators she heard someone scream, "I will kill you." Detectives allege Williams made good on that threat. West in the head. Police say Williams later parked her SUV back at the Diedrich Avenue home. We went to the house only to have the door closed as we were heading up to the front door. Back here in court, after a 1-minute arraignment, Williams was headed back to lockup. Yet another unexpected development in a story that's already seen several twists and turns, and that is, according to the judge, Monica Williams' attorney was not available today, so she has been ordered back to court tomorrow. We'll certainly keep you updated. Reporting for your news leader in downtown Memphis, Jarita Patterson, WREG News Channel 3.
The case had drawn widespread attention, both for the senseless nature of the crime and the fact that it happened in a public workplace over what many believed was a petty dispute. At her initial court appearances, Monica was formally read the charge of first-degree murder. Prosecutors outlined the evidence they intended to present, eyewitnesses' accounts, and surveillance footage, the victim's recorded conversation with a friend during the incident, and physical evidence from the crime scene and Monica's SUV. The state's argument was straightforward. This was a premeditated killing carried out minutes after an argument, when the suspect made a deliberate choice to return and pull the trigger. Monica's defense team signaled early that they might challenge the nature of the charge, questioning whether the killing met the legal threshold for premeditation, but the strength of the evidence was hard to ignore. The security footage placed Monica at the scene before and during the shooting. Multiple witnesses had seen her vehicle, identified her distinctive purple hair, and recalled her heated exchange with Anitra. Most damning was the account from Anitra's friend who overheard Monica issue a direct threat moments before the shot was fired. As the hearings progressed, Monica's past convictions for violent offenses, including a 2009 aggravated assault involving a stabbing, were widely discussed in the media, painting a picture of someone with a history of aggression. While the judge reminded the jury pool that past acts were not on trial, the pattern of behavior was impossible to ignore in the courts of public opinion. For Anitra's family, the trial was an emotional ordeal. Her ex-husband, Lorenzo West, attended proceedings alongside their 12-year-old daughter, who now faced growing up without her mother. Lorenzo spoke publicly about the toll this had taken on their family, insisting that the killing wasn't truly about fast food, but about a long-standing personal conflict. His words echoed a sentiment shared by many in the community that this was an act rooted in bitterness, not a simple workplace dispute.
We were married 15 years, and she was my high school sweetheart and all that. And we pretty much had gotten closer after we separated, and because we had to co-parent.
I just want my mama. I don't want nobody else than my mom and my dad.
Sweetest person in the world. Never met a stranger, but like most people, if you wrong them, they're gonna protect themselves. But it was all bar, nobody. Let me know to get my daughter to get to the hospital, they would need to have me a shot. The circumstances surrounding it make it even worse, like at a chicken place, I don't know, chicken, self-control should be everyone's goal these days.
I hope you watch in hell when you, and I hope you don't ever get to see your kids ever again.
Monica Williams, the woman charged in the death of Anitra West at an Orange Mound Church's Chicken, was in court today. Action News 5's Imani Williams was there in court when she took the stand and is live outside now where this sad incident all took place. Imani?
Hey Joe, we can see memorials forming here outside of the Church's Chicken here on Park Avenue in Orange Mound, all in memory of Anitra West. Well, I spoke with West's parents today, and they told me that there are no words that will describe how much that she will be missed. Now, Monica Williams, like you said, will be back in court today because that court tomorrow because that court hearing today was reset. Monica Williams in court Tuesday for the first time since she was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for allegedly killing Anitra West. Court was reset due to Williams' attorney not being present, but while court was happening, West's parents were planning her funeral.
Anitra had a personality that just filled the room.
Bruce and Antoinette Stevens said their daughter Anitra was one of their 6 kids. She was the one that brought a smile into any room and was hard working. Her parents shared that West just missed their family trip because she had to work. That's when they found out she died doing what she was good at, being a leader.
And her standards of working is being there, being on time, doing what she needs to do, being there for the customers, and also helping her employees. She didn't want to leave people in a lurch all the time. And you know, working in food service is difficult, but she never seemed to tire of it. She just kept doing it.
According to court records, West and Williams got into an argument about the payment of a food order on July 8th. Court records say employees told police the same till van Williams was in during the argument pulled back into the parking lot later in the night while West was outside, and that's when it rang out. Court records also show that a friend called police the next day after watching the news and told police they were in the car with Williams when the argument happened. West's parents say as they make funeral arrangements, they are trying to remember West for the vibrant, loving, and hardworking woman they remember her as.
She was a daughter, a sister, a mother,
An aunt,
a cousin.
Yeah.
She was all of that and then some, and she's going to be truly missed.
We will continue to follow this story as we get more updates because Monica Williams will be back in court tomorrow. Live in Orange Mound, Imani Williams, Action News 5.
But while court proceedings moved forward, outside the courtroom, the impact of Anitra's death was still being deeply felt. In Orange Mound, the shock of losing a well-known community member lingered. Anitra wasn't just another name in a police report. She was a familiar face to neighbors, a mother who doted on her daughter, and a woman whose warmth and friendliness had left an impression on nearly everyone she met. Friends described her as a shining light who could lift the mood of an entire room. Former coworkers remembered her dedication even during long and stressful shifts. Family members spoke of her strong faith, her generosity, and the way she always was willing to help those around her. Her funeral service was held at a local church where friends, relatives, and community members came together to celebrate her life. The turnout was large, a reflection of just how many lives she had touched. Flowers and photographs surrounded her casket, and attendees wore expressions that shifted between grief and disbelief. Pastors spoke of the need for healing and unity in the wake of tragedy. During those present to honor Anitra's memory by standing against violence, members of her family shared stories that highlighted both her strength and her sense of humor, painting a fuller picture of the woman they loved. For her 12-year-old daughter, the loss was immeasurable. Family members promised to support her through the difficult years ahead, but they acknowledged that nothing could replace the presence of her mother. The community reaction extended beyond those who knew Anitra personally. Local leaders and residents called for greater efforts to reduce gun violence, pointing out that a dispute, no matter how heated, should never end in someone's death. Orange Mound, a neighborhood with a long history and tight-knit residents, found itself rallying around the idea that tragedies like this one should not become the norm. Anitra's death raises questions that can't easily be answered. How can a disagreement escalate so quickly into something irreversible? What could have been done to prevent it? And why does it so often take a tragedy before a community comes together to address the root causes of violence? While the legal system will decide Monica Williams' fate, there's a responsibility that extends beyond the courtroom. Every one of us plays a role in creating environments where conflicts are de-escalated, not inflamed. That means walking away when tempers flare and valuing life above pride. Anitra West's story is a heartbreaking testament to how quickly everything can change. Her family will carry the pain of her loss forever, but her memory can serve as a reminder of what's at stake when anger and violence take the place of patience and understanding. In her honor, let's choose to value life and work to ensure that no one else loses theirs in such a senseless way. Let us know what you think in the comments section below.